Hey everyone, and welcome back to another deep dive. Remember that fascinating paper, Artful Path to Healing? We explored how art therapy can help people recover from the ICU.
Oh, yeah, that one was really interesting.
Well, the researchers behind that study, Dr. Yelma and Chanmi Kim, are back with a new development.
So what are they up to now? More art therapy research.
Yeah, but get this, they're bringing humans into the loop.
Humans into the loop. Okay, now I'm intrigued.
Me too. We've got their latest papers right here, so let's dive in and see what they're up to.
All right, let's unpack this. It sounds like they're combining AI with the expertise of art therapists.
Exactly. They're not just making recommendations, they're trying to create a truly personalized art therapy experience.
That's really cool. I mean, we all know how powerful art can be, but tailoring it to each individual's needs, that takes it to a whole new level.
So true. Okay, so first, let's quickly recap the challenge they're addressing. Remember PICS.
Post-intensive care syndrome. Yeah, it's a big deal. Affects up to 75% of ICU patients.
75%. That's a staggering number.
Right. And it impacts their physical, mental, and cognitive well-being. It can be really tough.
And I imagine traditional interventions can be pretty resource intensive.
Absolutely. That's one reason why art therapy is so promising. It's a non-invasive and engaging way to address PICS symptoms, especially those psychological ones.
Yeah, it makes sense. Art can be such a powerful tool for expressing emotions and processing difficult experiences.
Exactly. But here's the thing, not just any artwork will do. It needs to be personalized to each patient's needs and emotional state.
Okay, so how do you even begin to personalize art therapy for someone recovering from intensive care?
Well, that's where the AI comes in.
Yeah.
Researchers have been developing these amazing things called visual art recommendation systems.
Visual art recommendation systems. What are those?
Think of them as VA recies for short. They use complex algorithms to analyze data and suggest artwork tailored to specific individuals.
Wow, so it's like having a personal art curator powered by AI.
Kind of. It's pretty cool, but here's where it gets really interesting. Initially, the focus was on using AI to automate the entire recommendation process.
Oh, so like the AI would just pick the artwork and that's it. No human involvement.
Right, but early studies revealed a potential problem. These text-based AI recommendations sometimes suggested artwork with, well, negative or distressing themes.
Oh no, like what?
Imagine recommending a painting of a stormy sea or war scene to someone recovering from a traumatic ICU experience.
Oh, yikes. That could be really upsetting. Yeah, I see the problem.
It definitely wouldn't be therapeutic, right?
Not at all.
So that's why Dr. Yilma and his team are now focusing on a human-in-the-loop approach.
Human in the loop. What does that mean exactly?
It's basically a partnership. The AI analyzes tons of data and suggests a selection of paintings, but then an art therapist reviews those recommendations.
So the art therapist gets the final say.
Precisely. They make sure the artwork is both personalized and appropriate. It's like combining the best of both worlds.
I like it. It leverages the AI's power and human insight.
And the results speak for themselves. Studies show that this combined approach leads to some really positive changes.
Like what? Tell me more.
Well, for starters, it leads to positive mood changes.
Okay, that's a good sign.
Participants also report feeling a sense of immersion in the artwork.
So they're not just looking at it, they're really connecting with it.
And the recommendations get higher ratings for quality, too.
That makes sense. With the art therapist involved, you're ensuring that the artwork is truly relevant and meaningful.
Exactly. And participants even described feeling things like hope, rejuvenation, safety, and even a connection to something larger than themselves.
Wow, those are some pretty profound experiences, especially for someone going through recovery.
It really is incredible. But hold on, it gets even better. This human-in-the-loop approach also tackles a big problem.
What's that?
Therapist burnout.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge issue in healthcare. It's hard to provide compassionate care when you're feeling exhausted and overwhelmed.
Right, but by streamlining the artwork selection process, AI can actually help.
Really? How so?
It frees up the therapist to focus on what they do best, providing personalized care and guidance.
It's like the AI is taking care of the logistics, so the therapist can focus on the human connection.
Exactly. And that's what makes this research so exciting. It's not just about improving art therapy. It's about improving the entire healthcare experience.
And this research doesn't stop at PICS, right? I mean, the potential applications seem endless.
You're absolutely right. Imagine using AI-assisted art therapy in all sorts of healthcare settings, from calming anxiety in MRI rooms to supporting cognitive recovery in residential care.
It's mind-blowing. It really feels like we're on the cusp of a major shift in how we think about therapy and recovery.
And speaking of shifting the paradigm, Dr. Yilma is actually launching a platform to make this technology even more accessible.
Oh, wow. What's it called?
It's called Art AI Care. It's going to be available to registered art therapists, patients, and even everyday people who are looking for a more personalized and engaging way to promote their well-being.
That's fantastic. So he's really committed to making this technology widely available. It's great to see researchers who are so passionate about translating their work into real-world solutions.
It really is inspiring. So what do you think? What strikes you as the most fascinating aspect of this human-in-the-loop approach?
Well, I'm really impressed by how they've managed to combine the power of AI with the irreplaceable expertise of human therapists. It's such a brilliant example of how technology can enhance human capabilities, not replace them.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where technology and humanity work together to create something truly transformative.
Exactly. It's a powerful reminder that technology is a tool, and it's up to us to use it in ways that benefit everyone. And I think this research is a shining example of how to do just that.
Well said. And that brings us to the end of part 1. Make sure to join us for part 2, where we'll delve deeper into the specifics of how this human-in-the-loop approach actually works.
You won't want to miss it. We'll be back right after the break.
Okay, so are you ready to get into the nitty-gritty of how this human-in-the-loop system actually works?
You bet. I'm all ears. Lay it on me.
All right, so Dr. Yilma and his team, they started with a simple premise. They knew that to make art therapy really effective, you've got to understand the patient's individual preferences.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can't just show someone any random piece of art and expect it to be therapeutic.
Exactly. Everyone has different tastes. What moves one person might do nothing for someone else.
So how did they go about figuring out what kind of art resonated with each patient?
Well, they began with a set of sample paintings. Most of them were nature-themed.
Nature-themed, like landscapes and stuff.
Exactly. Things like calming landscapes, peaceful seascapes, those kinds of images.
Yeah, I can see how those would be soothing, especially for someone recovering from the ICU.
Right. There's a growing body of research showing how beneficial nature can be for healing and well-being.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that. Like how spending time in nature can reduce stress and improve mood.
That's it. So they figured incorporating nature into art therapy could really enhance those positive effects.
That's pretty clever. So they're not just picking pretty pictures, they're actually thinking about the underlying psychological benefits.
Exactly. They wanted to see which styles and themes really resonated with patients who are recovering from PICS.
Okay, but how did they choose those specific sample paintings?
These weren't just random paintings. They actually chose them based on a previous study with former ICU patients.
So they were using artwork that had already been shown to be effective.
Exactly. They wanted to build on a foundation of what works. So they showed these sample paintings to the patients and asked them a simple question.
What was that?
Which painting do you feel would best support your recovery?
Okay, so the patient gets to choose a painting they connect with.
Right. And that initial choice, it acts as a starting point for the AI.
Ah, so that's where the AI comes in. It takes that initial preference and runs with it.
Exactly. The AI then analyzes the chosen painting and uses that information to suggest other pieces of art that might be a good fit.
So, like, if the patient picks a painting with lots of blues and greens, the AI will recommend other paintings with similar colors.
That's one way it works, but it's actually much more sophisticated than that. They used a couple of different AI models in the study.
Different AI models? Tell me more about that.
Well, one of them was a visual model. This one focuses on the visual features of the painting.
So things like colors, shapes, composition, that kind of stuff.
You got it. It looks for paintings that have a similar visual vibe to the one the patient chose.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about the other AI model?
The other one they used was a multimodal model, which is even more advanced.
How so?
Well, it not only looks at the visual aspects, but it also considers any background information about the artwork.
Background information? Like what?
Things like the title of the painting, the artist who created it, even the historical context.
Wow, so this AI is really doing its homework, huh? It's like a super-powered art historian.
Haha, that's a great way to put it. So both of these models, they generate a list of recommendations based on their analysis.
Okay, so the AI spits out a list of paintings that it thinks the patient might like. What happens next?
This is the crucial part. Those recommendations aren't just given directly to the patient. They're first reviewed by a human art therapist.
Right, that human-in-the-loop element we talked about.
Exactly. The AI does all the heavy lifting, but the art therapist gets to make the final decision.
So the therapist gets to look at the AI's suggestions and decide which ones are actually going to be used in the therapy session.
Precisely. It's all about combining the strengths of AI and human expertise.
I'm really starting to see the brilliance of this approach. You get the AI's analytical power, but you also have the therapist's intuition and understanding of the patient's needs.
And you know what? The therapists in the study actually found this process to be incredibly helpful. They said it saved them so much time and effort.
Really? How so?
Well, instead of having to sift through tons of artwork themselves, they had the AI doing a lot of the legwork. That freed them up to focus on building a relationship with the patient and providing truly personalized care.
So it's like the AI is taking care of the logistics, and the therapist can focus on the human connection.
Exactly. Which ultimately leads to a better experience for everyone involved.
I love it. But I'm curious, how did the patients feel about the AI being involved in their therapy? Was that ever an issue?
That's a great question. The researchers were very sensitive to that. They made sure to explain the process to the patients very clearly.
So the patients knew what was going on and that the AI was just a tool.
Right. They emphasized that the AI wasn't making any decisions about their treatment. It was just helping the therapist choose the most relevant artwork.
That makes sense. Transparency is key when it comes to using AI in healthcare. People need to feel like they're still in control.
Absolutely. And once the patients understood how the AI was being used, they were actually very receptive to it.
That's great to hear. So the AI makes its recommendations, the therapist makes the final selections. What happens next? How does the art therapy session actually unfold?
That's where things get really interesting. And that's what we'll dive into next. Okay, so now we've got our 3 paintings, carefully chosen with the help of both AI and human expertise. The patient's ready, the therapist is ready. It's time for the art therapy session to begin.
I'm on the edge of my seat. What happens next? Paint me a picture, so to speak.
Well, first, the patient gets to spend some time with each of the paintings, really soak them in.
Just taking it all in, the colors, the shapes, the textures.
Exactly. It's about immersing themselves in the art, seeing what it brings up for them emotionally, what memories it might spark.
It sounds like a very mindful and introspective process.
It is, and the art therapist is there to guide the patient through this exploration. They might ask some gentle questions along the way.
Like what kind of questions?
Things like, what do you notice about this painting? Anything that catches your eye? Or, how does this artwork make you feel? Maybe even, what parts of the painting do you find yourself drawn to, and why?
It's about helping the patient make those personal connections with the art.
Exactly. It's not about interpreting the art in some right way. It's about letting the patient's own insights and experiences guide the process.
So it's all about creating a safe and open space for exploration and discovery.
Precisely. And it's amazing to see how powerful this can be. Even just looking at a painting and talking about it can unlock so much healing and growth.
I can only imagine. Okay, so the patients are engaging with the art, sharing their thoughts and feelings. But how do we know if this human-in-the-loop approach is actually effective? Did the researchers measure the impact in any way?
Oh, absolutely. They used several different measures to assess how well this approach was working.
Okay, spill the beans. What kind of things were they measuring?
Well, for starters, they looked at mood changes. They used standard psychological tests to see how participants' moods shifted before and after the art therapy sessions.
So they had a baseline measurement and then compared it to how they felt after engaging with the art.
Exactly. They also measured how immersed and engaged the participants felt with the artwork.
So how deeply they were connecting with the paintings.
Precisely. They wanted to see if the AI-assisted selections led to a deeper level of engagement compared to, say, just picking paintings at random.
And they even had the participants rate the quality of the recommendations themselves.
You got it. Things like, were the recommendations accurate? Were they diverse? Did they lead to any unexpected discoveries? That kind of thing.
So they were looking at the emotional impact of the art therapy, as well as the effectiveness of the AI-assisted recommendation process itself.
Exactly. It was a holistic approach to evaluating the intervention. So, drum roll, please. What did they find?
Don't leave me hanging.
Well, the results were pretty amazing. Across the board, participants reported positive mood changes after engaging with the AI-assisted art therapy.
That's wonderful. So it wasn't just a temporary distraction. It actually helped shift their emotional state in a positive direction.
Precisely. And the benefits went beyond just mood. Participants also talked about feeling a sense of safety, a feeling of connection to something larger than themselves, even a renewed sense of purpose.
Wow, those are some pretty profound experiences, especially for people who've been through something as traumatic as a stay in the ICU.
Absolutely. It's like the artwork, chosen with this human-in-the-loop approach, really acted as a catalyst for deeper emotional and spiritual healing.
It's like it helped them tap into their own inner resilience and find meaning in their experiences.
You said it, and the numbers back this up. Remember those measures of immersion and engagement I mentioned? Participants who received the AI-assisted recommendations scored significantly higher in those areas compared to those who just received recommendations from a human expert alone. So the AI was somehow helping them connect with the art on a deeper level. That's fascinating.
It really is. It seems like the AI, by analyzing all that data and picking up on subtle nuances, was able to identify artwork that truly resonated with each individual.
It's like the AI was seeing patterns and connections that a human might miss.
Exactly. But of course, the human art therapist still played a crucial role in curating those final selections.
Right. It's that perfect blend of AI and human expertise.
And it wasn't just the numbers that were impressive. Some of the most powerful insights came from the patients themselves.
Oh, you mean what they said about their experiences? Tell me more about that.
The researchers asked the participants to describe in their own words what it was like to engage with the artwork.
So they got to share their personal stories and reflections.
Exactly. And what they said was truly remarkable. Some talked about feeling transported to a different place, a place of peace and tranquility.
It's like the artwork provided a much-needed escape from the stress and anxieties of recovery. Precisely. Others felt a sense of awe and wonder, a connection to something vast and beautiful. It was like the art was helping them tap into a sense of wonder and possibility.
I can only imagine how powerful that must have felt.
And many described how the art helped them process their emotions, make sense of their experience in the ICU. They felt seen, understood, and validated through the art.
That's beautiful. It speaks to the profound ability of art to heal and transform, especially when it's chosen with such care and intention.
It really does. And here's something that really stood out to me. The themes that emerged from the patient's reflections, they aligned perfectly with the core goals of art therapy.
Really? Like what?
Things like feelings of hope, rejuvenation, engagement, safety, even a sense of personal preference and sensory pleasure. These are all key elements of art therapy.
It's like the AI, by understanding not only the patient's individual tastes, but also the broader goals of art therapy, helped select artwork that directly addressed their needs.
Precisely. It wasn't just about aesthetics. It was about using art in a targeted and strategic way to promote well-being and recovery.
This has been such an incredible deep dive. It's amazing to see how AI, when used ethically and thoughtfully, can amplify the power of human connection and healing.
Absolutely. And remember Dr. Yilma, the brilliant mind behind this research? Well, he's not stopping there. He's taking things a step further with the launch of ArtACare.
That's right. That platform he's creating to make this technology available to even more people.
Exactly. It'll be accessible to registered art therapists, to patients, and even to everyday people who are simply curious about using art to enhance their well-being.
It's fantastic to see this technology being made so widely available. It's a real game changer.
I couldn't agree more. And it makes you wonder, what other possibilities are out there? What other areas of healthcare could benefit from this incredible blend of AI and human expertise?
It's exciting to think about all the potential applications. This is truly groundbreaking research that's paving the way for a more personalized and human-centered approach to healthcare.
I completely agree. And with that, we come to the end of our deep dive. It's been an absolute pleasure exploring this fascinating research with you.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking out those amazing intersections between technology and human well-being.